Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and today we're gonna do the Game Week 2 deadline stream. Right, so the first deadline stream on this channel, right, I missed the Game Week 1 because I wasn't able to, so we did a discussion stream then. But hopefully from this week on, we're gonna do deadline streams before every game week deadline, right? So I'm probably gonna do it at this time, right? Hopefully it is a good timing for those of you guys wherever you guys are watching from, right? Whether it's morning, evening, or in the afternoon, right? So I'm gonna have a lot of content right in this stream. I'm not really sure how long this stream is gonna take, but hopefully it's not too long so that those of you guys can continue to watch it um, as a video, right, when it replays. So we're gonna start off. Currently this is my team, right, but we're gonna start off with some team news, right? So let's first take a look at the um, latest team news, right? The presses just finished, right? So let's just start off with some simple team news, right, to kind of see how our players are doing, right? So if you take a look in the on the screen right now, right, I'm not gonna read through every single thing, right, but I'll just quickly summarize for you guys because I did actually read through beforehand. So Klopp did speak about the Darwin and Salah partnership, right, and in that kind of short little interview, he actually did say that he actually did defend Firmino, right? So a lot of people are asking whether Firmino would be dropped, right, and Darwin would come on as a starter, right? And that's what a lot of us are thinking right now. So whether you want to move on to Darwin and kind of hop on his points, right? He's really on fire right now, right? But Klopp has said that he actually backs Firmino, right? And he actually defended him in the Fulham game, right? So I guess we can kind of wait and see the minutes that Darwin gets, right, and whether Firmino is actually dropped, right? So the next piece of team news is from Manchester City, right? And it's the latest news is that Cancelo now has a challenger at left back, right? Currently, they have signed someone, right? If you take a look, yeah, they have signed Sergio Gomez, right? Currently he's supposed to be the backup or competition for Cancelo, right, at left back. He's a 21-year-old, right? Plays for Spain under 21s, right? So I mean, he is rated quite highly, of course, right? So, but I doubt that Cancelo will lose his starting place, but it's just kind of a backup, so not too worried about Cancelo, right? Then for Arsenal, right, this is kind of the bigger one, right? Smith Rowe, is it Fabio Vieira? Yeah, Smith Rowe, Fabio Vieira, and also Tomiyasu, right? They're all back in training, and also Kieran Tierney looks in perfect condition. So I think this game week we're gonna see possibly one of the more confirmed back fours, right? Hopefully we get more information on the Arsenal back four, right? But for now, right, it seems as if the back four would probably stay the same, right? I don't think that Tierney would just come straight in, but if he does, right, that's gonna ring some bells as well. Right, Richarlison returns from the ban. Right, so definitely that's gonna play into whether Kulusevski gets. We're gonna see how Kulusevski and Richarlison kind of share minutes, right, and that can kind of tell us, whether we should hop onto Kulusevski or not. Alonso and Kovacic miss out for Chelsea. So Alonso he has those rumors that he's going to Barcelona, right, and as for Kovacic, he is injured, right, so both of them won't be in the Game Week 2 squad. As for United, right, Martial still out, Ronaldo could start. Right, for Aston Villa, Leon Bailey looking sharp, right? When Gerrard was questioned about Leon Bailey, right, he did say that Bailey was looking sharp, but there are rumours that Bailey may be dropped out of the starting 11 and Watkins coming in, right? So we'll wait to see. But it's still good news, right? That Gerrard is saying that Bailey is looking sharp, right? Right, I'll get to the chat in a bit, right? Just quickly finish this up. So, for Newcastle, right, nothing much to update there. For Everton, Ben Godfrey and Yerry Mina, we know, is injured. So currently, the player coming in is Connor Cody, right? They've just signed Connor Cody. So I expect him to come straight into the starting 11. And as for Wolves, Jimenez and Moutinho still absent. Crystal Palace, Olise could return, right? And Brentford just signed Damsgaard, right? If that's how I pronounce it properly. But he's currently not ready to start. But at 5.5 mil, I think is really he could really be a good option to hop on after Neto maybe, right? If you want to switch out Neto, or if you have funds and you want to upgrade Bailey to Damsgaard, I don't think that's a bad move as well. West Ham, Antonio is still fit, right? And for Nottingham Forest, nothing much to add there. All right, so that's pretty much the team news, right? Let me get to the chat. All right, nice to see you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Right, Philip, Schmeichel, GV, Lalu, Rory, thanks for coming on. Is the Heat going to impact Haaland's performance? Yeah, there's actually some tweets on Twitter going on right now, right? Whether you should captain Salah in the evening game versus Haaland in the afternoon heat, right? So I honestly still feel like Haaland. I have prepared some stuff, right, about captaincy, right. Later on we're gonna use some metrics and also some stats to kind of back our decision, right. I'm gonna try and use stats and also the eye test, right, as much information as we can get this season to kind of make our decisions, right. At least that's what I'm doing, right. Hopefully it helps you guys as well. And yeah, so that's about Haaland's performance, right. So who's the better captain? Yeah, we'll get into that later on. Start two with James, Trippier, Neto, and Bailey. James definitely a starter, and Trippier. Who's Newcastle got this week? Newcastle's got Brighton. I actually prefer Neto against Fulham though. Yeah, I'll probably start James and Neto. Yeah. All right. There's more people in the chat. Hi SK. All right. So let's get on with the rest of the content. Right. I'm afraid this stream may drag on for too long. Right. So we'll quickly get on to the next part. Right. So the next thing I have prepared, right, is the transfers in, right. So the most transferred in player this week is obviously Erling Haaland, right. So it's not going to surprise us as well that the most transferred out player this game week is also Harry Kane, right. We'll see that later. Now basically 1 million managers have already transferred him in. Actually this morning when I was looking at this, this is a website, whether it's ffstuff.co.uk, right. When I was checking this website in the morning, actually this number was only at 800,000, right. So currently it's at 1 million. I think people are starting to transfer Haaland in, right. And it's also funny because Kane has dropped in price, right. It's now 11.4, right, and Haaland is now 11.6, right. So you probably would have to take a hit, right, if you don't have enough money in the bank. So that comes the question, right, whether we should be taking hits to bring Haaland in, right. And my opinion is that if I was in a position where I had Kane, right, and I missed the price rise, I would still take a hit to bring Haaland in, right. But obviously not taking a hit in too drastic a hit, right. Maybe I've heard people in the DMs, right, where they tell me that they want to downgrade Trent to Robertson, right, and then hopefully they can afford Haaland thereafter, right. But I honestly don't advise that as well, right. So players like Trent, they're essential, right. If you want to downgrade players to get your funds to upgrade Haaland, then I feel like those funds should come from more fringe players, right. Players that you're more you feel are more disposable. Yeah. All right, so this is the most transferred in player for the game week, right? Erling Haaland, followed by Zinchenko, right? Not a surprise there actually, and but the real information here that it is half the transfers of Haaland in, right? So obviously a lot of people are acting on the returns that Haaland got in game week 1. Right, so for the rest as well, I don't understand the Mitrovic one. Actually, he does have quite a bad run of fixtures coming up, right? So I don't really like people transferring in Mitrovic, right? But that is the case, right? 537,000. Right, Martinelli, I understand, right? Kulusevski, Darwin as well. Some people are going for Darwin, right? And Pascal Gross as well. Right, so for the transferred out players, obviously Harry Kane is up top, right? 772,000. I feel like that actually kind of relates to the Haaland transfers in as well, right? Obviously, because where's the funds going to come from? You're going to have to downgrade somebody. So obviously Kane at 11.5 initially, right, was the best transfer to make, right? And then you have Jesus as the second most transferred out player, right? I wouldn't transfer out Jesus, right? I would actually keep him. Perisic as well. If I had Perisic, I also would keep him, right? Actually, this whole game week feels like a game week where if you don't have to do Kane to Haaland, you can actually bank your transfer. Every other transfer just feels like a luxury transfer, right? So honestly, all these players you can hold on to them, right? Jesus, Perisic, Son as well, right? Medicash maybe a slight argument there, right? And then Trent, I don't understand why Trent is in this list. Yeah, all right. So as for the overall ownerships, Jesus is currently top still, right? Followed by Salah, Haaland, Trent, right? Mostly the template teams, right? Mostly the same kind of figures that we see, but Haaland's ownership has increased a lot, right? So worth taking note as well, right? Especially if we are considering whether to bring him in or not. You kind of have to stick a little bit to the template if you don't want to lose too much rank as well. Right, so Michael is asking, Neto's points might be affected with the arrival of Guedes. For sure, but we definitely have to wait and see. I'm actually hopeful that Wolves would kind of perform well against Fulham at home, right? Wolves are at home, right? So I'm actually hopeful that we would get some returns from Neto, right? Hopefully. Right, so next up is the Draft Town odds. So in terms of the Game Week 2 fixtures, if you take a look at the Game Week 2 section, it's basically obviously Man City with the highest odds of winning Bournemouth at home, right? Obviously the bookies also expect that a lot of the chances that Man City will create will turn into goals, right? So this actually plays into the captaincy decision as well, right? And then we have Liverpool, Arsenal, right? Aston Villa also has a pretty high chance of winning their game, right? And then West Ham, right? Followed by Manchester United 50%, then Chelsea, Southampton, and Wolves, right? So I am actually liking Haaland more as a captain, right? But I'll go into the actual stats and also the metrics later. I'm quite excited to show you guys the metrics because that is something that I'm gonna include in all the team selection videos, right? Hopefully it helps us. So in terms of keeping clean sheets, right, not a surprise as well, right? Man City and Liverpool up there, right? Man City 71% chance of keeping a clean sheet as well, right? Liverpool 60%, right? And the rest, Aston Villa actually has a high percentage of clean sheet as well. So those with Medicash, those with Luka Dean, right, not to worry too much, right, at least for Game Week 2 and Game Week 3. Yeah, Chris Jordan says, a good week to hurry up and wait. That's exactly, I mean, that nicely sums up Game Week 2, right? There's pretty much nothing to do, right? It's just about waiting, getting through Game Week 2 and gathering more information, basically. Yeah. Alright, so I guess this is pretty much the first part of the content that I actually wanted to cover. Alright, so the next part is actually about captaincy, which a number of you guys in the chat have been asking, right? GV, and also, if I'm not wrong, Lalu, yeah. So a number of you guys have been asking, right? So let's take a look at the captaincy statistics, right? So first up, I want to take a look at the predicted points, right? So this is Fantasy Football Hub, right? Those of you guys who are interested to get the premium membership, the link is in the description for 50% off. Right, they actually just released their application, right, today, the updated one. It's actually really, really nice, right? So they're one of the few kind of statistical websites that actually provide the like a mobile app, right? So it's really good. If you guys want, you can go and check it out. The membership's not too expensive as well, right? So 50% off definitely helps as well. Alright, so I use a lot of these tools to kind of make my decisions, right? So if you take a look at the predicted points, right, it's highlighted in blue there. Haaland, this is ranked in terms of who, in terms of Game Week 2, right, who will get the most predicted points, right? So starting with Haaland, right, obviously 8.5 predicted points there for him, right? So they are expecting some decent returns from him as well, right? Closely followed by De Bruyne, Foden, and Cancelo. I mean, the City guys are just all at the top, right? And then comes Salah at 6.3, right? So it's actually below all the other kind of more popular City assets, right? Like Haaland, De Bruyne, Foden, Cancelo, right? So after Salah is actually surprisingly Jared Bowen, right? 6.1. Yeah. So I mean, they do have a relatively easy fixture against Nottingham Forest, right? So that's probably why, right? And then Trent Alexander-Arnold, right? So further down the list as well, right? We see some Arsenal players, right? Martinelli and Saka, and then Robertson, right? So basically, I like to use this. This is just one of the metrics, right? About how to decide who you want to captain, right? But I all this will be compiled into the final metrics I'm gonna show you guys soon, right? So one of the ways that we can tell who the captain is by predicted points, right? So next up, another tool that I like to use to kind of decide who to captain is actually this player comparisons tool, right? So if I just put in Salah and Haaland, they kind of compare their stats. I mean, the stats at this point in time is still based on one game week, right? So it's probably going to be very skewed to who performed well in game week 1, right? But over the course of the next few game weeks, it's going to be a good way to kind of compare who we want to captain, because this will actually take into account more games, right? So definitely we're going to want to uh, use as much information basically, right? So obviously based on the game week 1 stats, right, Haaland is definitely overperforming Salah, right? But Salah still got 1 goal and 1 assist, right? So taking nothing away from him as well, right? Salah is Salah, and a lot of us are contemplating whether to captain him or not, right? And also, like GB mentioned just now, right? One of the things is whether the heat is going to impact Haaland's performance, right? So, I mean, those are things as well, right? So basically, if you look at this table, right, there's the heat maps around the area of the heat maps. There's all the data, right, to kind of see where who is faring better, right? And obviously, at this point in time, right, Haaland's stats are a little bit better, right? And on top of that, I mean, in terms of the eye test as well, the number of chances that City are creating, I also like that Haaland is just going to get a lot of opportunities, right? He's just going to get a lot of chances, right? Not to say that Salah isn't, right? But the way City plays, I kind of feel like there's bound to be some goals, right? There's some goals to be had for Haaland, right? So finally, right, let's take a look at the one last thing, right? Which is this is probably the last bit of content I have planned, and then we can get to the Q&As. But basically, this is a captaincy rubric that I'm going to be using in all my team selection videos. And basically, what it does is it uses all the metrics, right, that we can get, right, all the information on certain players, and we rank them accordingly and then give them a score. Right, the higher their score, then the more likely they are, favorable captains in terms of statistics, right? So as much as the numbers kind of tell us something as well, it's still important to, weigh it with a little bit of the eye test. So okay, let's quickly just take a look at this, right? Once again, the data is taken from Fantasy Football Hub, right? I just showed you guys just now. So if you are interested, link is in the description. So we have player stats and also team stats, right? So in terms of the player stats, we're going to use XG per 90, expected assist per 90, expected goal involvement per 90, and also expected points per 90, right? And lastly, projected points. So all these 5 metrics, we're going to use it to, compare against all the players and kind of see who has the best out of all of them, right? Then we're going to add on the team stats, right? So the expected goals of the teams, number of shots on target per 90, right? And the chances of them scoring the chances of the team scoring in the game, and also chances of scoring more than 2.5 goals. So when we take all of this criteria and then we aggregate a score for them, right? What I've done is basically kind of calculated a score for them, right? At this point in time, it's a little bit skewed, right? We only have data from game week 1, right? So obviously it's going to be a little skewed, right? But Darwin, as we can see, has really, really good stats because he came on for a pretty much majority of the second half, right? Maybe 30 plus minutes, right? But he got quite a lot of returns, right? And also registered a lot of chances, a lot of shots on target. So that's why his numbers are a little bit inflated. So I wouldn't kind of take it, I would take it with a pinch of salt. And at the same time, I also would be wary of his minutes, right? So if you take a look at projected points for Darwin, which is 3.5, which kind of takes into account how much minutes he would get, right? It's actually pretty low, right, compared to the others, right? And that's because it takes into account how long he would actually play in the game. So they are actually expecting him to not start as well, right? So as much as the numbers favor Darwin, right, I would still go with the other two, right? The other top two, right? So at this point in time, Haaland comes up just a little bit more, right? With 41 points, right? As the aggregated score for him, right? And then Salah comes in at 40.5. So really close, right? Once again, all the stats kind of still are pretty close, right? And Haaland is at 41. So really, I think at this point in time, right, I'm still gonna go with Haaland, right? Also, when we put in a little bit of the eye test together with the statistics, right, they kind of see that City started the season really well, right, and there's every chance they can continue to go on to do that. But as for Liverpool, they kind of need to bounce back a little bit, right? So there's absolutely every chance that they can bounce back, but in terms of the numbers and also how they started the season, I kind of favor Haaland a little bit more. Right, so at this point in time, my captaincy is still on Haaland, and hopefully it would still be on Haaland, right? I'm pretty sure it will be. Right, so that's pretty much it for the content, right? And this is basically where we are at right now with my team, right? So I have Haaland as the captain, right, and then Raya. So we're gonna go with Raya in goal, right? Pretty much the same lineup as game week 1, right? But just that my captaincy is now on Haaland instead of Salah, right? So I'm pretty confident on this team, right? And as for Neto and Bailey, right, those of you guys who are kind of worried whether they would actually score well, or if Bailey would even start, right? I still do think that they are good assets, right? There's a couple of reasons why we did bring Neto and Bailey in the first place, right? So obviously, with two fixtures both of them have fixtures at home as well, right? Against Fulham and also Everton for Bailey. So honestly, Everton's defense is a little weakened, so I would kind of favor Bailey to get some returns there. Yeah. Right. SK says it's important Bailey gets a return this week, or we have to make 2 to 3 transfers next week. Right. So my plan actually at this point in time, right, hopefully, right, if Bailey doesn't drop out of the starting 11, my plan is actually to change my 8 million midfielder. Right. It seems like that may be the move that I would make. But another thing that I'm considering as well is how to get Darwin into my team. Right, I'm possibly thinking of downgrading Robertson, right? But it's still a wait and see. But I may downgrade Robertson. I think that's probably the only place that I can get the funds, right? And also kind of take away the third Liverpool spot, right? Free up that third Liverpool spot so that I can fit Darwin in. Yeah. Right. Philip says, do you think Pereira could be an option instead of any of your other players? I mean, honestly speaking, there have been a couple of questions whether Pereira should be started ahead of Neto and Bailey, but I actually still prefer having Neto and Bailey, right, as my starting in my starting 11, right? I still do prefer the two of them, right? And I mean, it was just one game week, right? And I am confident that they will get some returns. Right, a little bit more confident than Pereira getting a return, right? Even though I know that Pereira did play pretty advanced, right? I did like the look of how he played, and also he's on set pieces, right? So pretty a decent shout, right, Andreas? But I actually would still start Neto and Bailey. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So as I was saying, I think the possible change in game week 3 that I would make is to possibly change Saka, right? Maybe out for Foden, or if you take a look at Robertson, right? I may downgrade him, as I said just now, to get some funds, and then again, it may not be enough funds, right, to upgrade Archer to Darwin, right? So I may have to kind of consider whether I want to do Jesus to Darwin, right, which is probably going to be a it's gonna be a tough call for sure, right? But I'm hoping for some more information, right, over the weekend. If Darwin goes on another haul, right, and Jesus blanks, right, there's gonna be a serious consideration there. Is Cornet a good option now that he's at West Ham? I do like West Ham's game week 2 fixture, right? Bowen plays Nottingham Forest, but I kind of would stay clear of them, right? Until if they bounce back this game week, right? I'll give Cornet a little bit of time. I'll give West Ham a little bit of time to kind of get back on their feet, and then maybe I'll consider Cornet, right? Maybe not at this point in time, right? But definitely one of the players to consider. SK says, I'm sure there'll be rumours of Bailey being dropped in the morning due to early kickoff. Be ready to put Andreas in. Yeah, for sure. I mean, my eyes will be peeled on Twitter, but I'm definitely hoping that Bailey starts, right? But if he doesn't start, then obviously, right, as SK mentioned, Andreas would be. I feel like he could very well just come into the team if the early team news comes in. That is. Yeah, I mean, as we talked about it in the team news as well at the start, right? Gerrard did say that Bailey looked sharp, right? He looked sharp, so there's every chance that he could still. There's every chance that he could still start, right? So we're gonna keep a lookout for that. I mean, apart from that, honestly, this game week just feels as if there's not too much to do, right? So pretty much a wait and see kind of game week. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, right? And something that I want to kind of speak a little bit about, because in the reaction stream that we were doing after game week 1, right, didn't get to talk a little bit about this price change predictor, and I felt like if I did speak a little bit about it, some of you guys may have made the change, right? So this is actually the price change predictor, right? And as you can see, if the number goes above 100, right, then the price is probably going to rise tonight, right? The price of that player, right? So as of now, Pascal Gross is probably going to rise tonight, right? Also Haaland, right, and probably Shah as well, right? Those in the 90s range, they're pretty much kind of in the danger zone as well, right? So Pascal Gross, Haaland is going to rise in price again, right? Those of you guys who intend to get him in, right, you should probably do it now before the price actually rises, because if I'm assuming you guys have Kane at 11.4 if you want to do that switch, right? And if that's the case, right, you probably want to save some money so you can do it tonight, right? And then Shah as well. We're gonna go for Shah, right? So Saliba also on the rise, right? A very good 4.5 option, but as I said just now, right, I don't really know who is the confirmed Arsenal back four, right? That's why I can't kind of hop on any particular Arsenal defender. I mean, of course Gabriel, but he's 5 mil, right? I am the lemon says, would you say I should play Trippier over Bailey? I actually would. Yeah, I mean, with the risk surrounding Bailey, if you just want to take a little bit less risk, if I had Trippier or Bailey, if I had to choose between them, I would play Trippier. Ice G says, hello, I'm captaining Jesus. That's pretty interesting, right? Let's take a look at the points predictions for him. I mean, even so, right? I feel like Jesus isn't that high up the predicted points, right? But there's every chance. I mean, if he finds his preseason form, right, 5.4. If you have Salah, I actually would kind of prefer Salah, right? But definitely, if you want to go for Jesus, yeah, definitely by all means, right? Against Leicester at home. Yeah, every chance that they could perform well still. Who would you change Robbo to if you were to transfer Jesus to Darwin to? Right, so about the transfers that I intend to make, right? So if I was gonna transfer Robertson out and then bring Darwin in for Jesus, it definitely has to be a downgrade, right? So I was kind of considering whether um whether a 5 mil defender would be good, right, as a replacement for Robertson. So I was considering the likes of Trippier as well, and also maybe in terms of fixtures wise, right? Brentford's fixtures are actually really good, but I already have Raya, right? So yeah, at this point in time, it's still I'm not 100% yet, but I probably uh I also like Perisic, right? So he's a really decent shout as well, right? So but he is a little bit more expensive, and if I do Robertson to Perisic, I definitely have to do Jesus to Darwin because I don't have enough. The downgrade doesn't give me enough funds to bring Archer up to Darwin. So that's why if I do Perisic, which probably seems like the most sensible transfer, then I have to do Jesus up to Darwin, which may not be something that I'm 100% that I want to do, right? So yeah. SG says, do I play Perisic or Neco Williams? Feel like Perisic will start. Definitely Perisic over Neco Williams, yeah. Neco Williams actually plays West Ham, right? So not really a very good fixture for him, right? And I mean Nottingham Forest, I feel like they still need to find their footing a little bit. So yeah, probably would go for Perisic. Have you made any transfers yet? No, I'm banking the transfer this week. Right, banking the transfer. Come game week 3, I will kind of see what options I have, I guess, and also more information come game week 2. Right, as a lot of you guys mentioned as well, like game week 2 is pretty much just gonna wait and see, right? Like what information we can get on the starting 11, right? Who's finding form, and then we can kind of make our transfers thereafter. So it's pretty much still too early to say, right? But if I'm gonna give if I'm to give who is most likely gonna leave my team at this point in time, right? It's probably in game week 3, of course, right? It's most probably the likes of maybe Bailey, right? Depending on his performance, and also Saka. I'm considering to another 8 mil mid, right? And Robertson and maybe Jesus to Darwin if I need to, right? So apart from that, I think the rest of them are pretty much still gonna be in my team, right? Even Pedro Neto, right? I don't see him as a player that I need to ship out immediately in Game Week 3 as well. Where did you finish last season? Team looks good. I just finished outside the top 100k, right? So definitely hoping for a better rank this season, right? But I think the start we made this season is pretty decent, right? As I mentioned just now, as I mentioned in the previous reaction stream, right? Overall rank at this point in time is pretty much just your game week rank, right? So and usually game week ranks wise, if you're in the top maybe 1 million or 2 million, it means you probably have a decent game week, right? Pretty much above average. So if I can kind of keep this game week rank up, I think hopefully we can get somewhere, right? But probably gonna wait till game week maybe game week 8 to 10 to kind of let the ranks stabilize, because if I scored maybe maybe 3 more points, or if I scored maybe 3 less points, right, that's pretty much like half a million rank jump. So at this point in time, it's still a bit too early to say, but probably we'll start to keep a lookout for the rank in game week 8, and then by then, right, hopefully by in the top 100k and can kind of push into the top 10k, right? Yeah, so this is pretty much it, right? And I also think that there's pretty much not any urgent transfers to make in game week 2, right? So I guess that's why pretty much not a lot of questions as well, right? So I think this is pretty much it, right? We can kind of end the stream here, right? So thank you guys for joining, right? Those of you guys who are still here, right? I will catch you guys maybe in the reaction stream, right, after the game week 2 games. I probably would do it on Sunday, right, because I wouldn't wait for the midweek game to finish, right? There's a last midweek game to finish, which is Crystal Palace and Liverpool, right? That's the last game of the game week, but I probably would stream a reaction stream in the after the Sunday games, right? So hopefully we'll get to see you guys there, right? As of now, I'm probably pretty much certain this is going to be my team, right? Barring any last minute news of Bailey not starting, right? So that's pretty much it. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, right, Jenga and also Whitney. Right, thanks for tuning into the stream. I will catch you guys very soon, right? Hopefully, if you guys haven't checked out the videos as well, you can go and check it out. The team selection and also the biggest questions where I answer you guys' questions. Right, so that's pretty much it. Right, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys in another video very soon. Bye bye.